What's up, fam? Arthur here, arthurtut.com, and we're going deeper into Atomic Habits by James Clear. And today we're going to be talking about how, in the long term, do you stay motivated and happy in life, in work, in all that happens, right? And there's mention of the Goldilocks rule, which I guess a better way to put it is flow state, right? People talk about flow, of being in the flow, and what exactly does that mean? And I think for me, the best way to describe it or understand it is to think of the time that you were playing a video game, right? Like I remember, I used to play like Final Fantasy VII, like back in the day. Like a good RPG game is a perfect example here, because the reason RPG games are addictive is because they found that right balance of they're not too easy and they're not too hard. They're just difficult enough to be challenging, where you're excited to go forward and prove that you can do it, but it's not so hard that you get demoralized, right? So like again, think of Final Fantasy VII or whatever video game you play, and think if you started on level 1 and you were in like God mode, you had like 90, 100 hit points or whatever, and you went around just like one-slash people and everybody just like fell over and died, and it was like super easy because you were so like elite. That'd be fun for like 20 minutes because you'd feel like a god, but after about 20 minutes it would get insanely boring because there's no challenge anymore. Like it becomes too easy, right? It's too easy. Like your brain's not stimulated to figure anything out. So you just kind of get bored and be like, all right, I'm done with that. Now imagine the flip side of that. Let's say you start level 1, but level 1 is actually like the final boss of the game, right? How fun would that be? It would be terrible, because you're like, well, I'm never going to beat this guy because he's like the final boss, and I'm just like this level 1 little peon. So I'm, this is dumb, because no matter how hard I try, he's so far ahead of me, I can never catch up. So if it's too easy or it's too hard, it's either boring or it's demoralizing, right? So that perfect flow state is when it's easy enough that you can see yourself, that you have a vision that you can like make it to the next level, but it's challenging enough that you actually have to take some time, you have to think about it, you have to be strategic, you have to make the right moves, you can't make too many like screw-ups, or maybe you have to like load an old save, right? So the most addicting video games, they find that perfect balance there, where it's just enough to keep you excited to like, all right, I'm gonna figure this out, or I'm gonna beat my friend because I'm gonna get there faster, because I'm gonna be more creative and figure this thing out and get there, right? And so you get that flow state. Now let's take that concept of flow state, now let's bring it back to our lives, and let's bring it back to the habits that we're trying to create, right? So again, to go into the old standard, right? If your goal or if your habit that you're working on is to get fit and to lose weight, right? If you come up with a gym routine and you have that same gym routine forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and never change it, well, in the beginning it's probably going to be challenging, and then it's going to be a little bit less challenging, and eventually before too long, like your body will get used to it and it'll get easy, right? So to make this work in the long term, you have to switch it up. You have to come up with a new exercise routine. You have to put on more weights. You have to do more reps. Work out different parts of your body. Like you have to keep changing it up, right? If we're talking about like books or reading, don't just read the same type of book over and over again. Read different fields, different. If you were really into like math and physics, learn about philosophy, right, or whatever that might be. The point is to like switch it up, do it differently. In your work, in your career, if you've learned a certain skill set, is there a new skill set? Is there that next level? Like maybe you developed really good technical skills, but maybe the next frontier for you is to get better at like interpersonal skills, because you know that you need to start networking, and you need to like meet the boss, and I don't know, you need to meet somebody who's at a different company and blah blah blah. But there's more like networking, there's more interpersonal skills that you need to develop, right? So the way to stay motivated in the long run to keep working on your goals and your habit and your mission is to keep finding what is that next level. Again, don't take it too far. Don't take it so far that you're like, this is too much and I'm demoralized and I hate this. Just do like, what's that next, like that itty bitty little like next step, right? And then what's that little next step, and just kind of like keep adding a little bit, and keep going. But it's just that process of like always a little bit better, 1% better, 1% better, incremental growth, compound interest. Just work on that like just a tiny bit better, just a tiny bit. Just keep going. Eventually, you're gonna be on the moon. Like it's gonna be crazy what's gonna happen. Anyways, throw your thoughts down below. What do you do to get in a flow state? What do you do to kind of get in that space where it's like time and space and everything just kind of disappears and you're just focused on the work? You're just so into it that you just can't help but stay like motivated and on it. Share your thoughts down below on what you do. If you like this, throw a like, throw a subscribe, and fam, we're going to see you next one coming up.